Hello, my name is Paul Nussbaum. I'm a neuropsychologist licensed in the state of Pennsylvania and Florida. I'm president of the Brain Health Center, which is a holistic center dedicated to brain health and wellness in western Pennsylvania. I'm also a neuroscientist and an adjunct professor of neurological surgery at the University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine. I often make fun of myself with all those titles. Basically what it boils down to is I'm very interested in the human brain and how to shape it for health across the lifespan at any age. I'm really thrilled to be here today with the board and the experts with ASL Friends, which is a not-for-profit dedicated to expanding linguistic ability and language and communication for children throughout the world. So you can begin to imagine the marriage between the brain and language ability. In my opinion, the brain, the human brain, the single greatest, most magnificent miracle ever designed in the history of this or any universe. Sitting right between our ears, right? In our skulls, weighing about 3 pounds, composed of 60% fat, and demanding 25% of the blood from every heartbeat. Imagine that. A 3-pound structure, a miracle between our ears, demanding 25% of the blood from every heartbeat. I think it's safe to say it's a pretty important part of who we are. And one of the things that I'm excited about being here today with my friends at ASL Friends is that what they're doing is so vitally important to shaping the human brain at the earliest points of the life in children and infants, and even within the womb as the brain develops rapidly. And one of the things neuroscience has taught us is that the brain can be shaped for health across the lifespan. My work has been dedicated to lifestyle, thinking about things such as mental stimulation and spirituality, reducing stress. We know that's important in America. Nutrition, socialization, and indeed moving, physical activity. All those things are important for shaping the brain for health, regardless of age. For today, we're going to talk about language, which falls within mental stimulation and socialization and even reducing stress, right? And what neuroscience has taught us is that not only can the brain be shaped, that's called plasticity, but language and language development, sometimes called linguistic functioning, is so vitally important to the health and integrity, to the very foundation of the human condition, particularly when it begins with children. What we've learned in research is that spoken language, the hearing brain, but also language for the non-hearing brain through American Sign Language is critically important at the earliest of ages. Science has also taught us that a brain, whether it's a hearing brain or a not hearing brain, a deaf brain, will do very well by developing the foundations of language through spoken language or American Sign Language very early, such that that brain will be able to learn a primary language, but also have the ability to learn a secondary language. One of the things that fascinated me in the research, and I read a wonderful review paper by Malaya and Wilbur in 2010, going over most of the research prior to that date, is that if you take a hearing baby at about 6 months of age and you give them a choice, the baby can either choose to follow pantomimes, gestures, without much linguistic meaning, or American Sign Language. That hearing baby at 6 months of age will choose American Sign Language. So it tells us something about the depth and the substance and the linguistic foundational properties of American Sign Language at the earliest of ages, even in a hearing brain. Point number one, the earlier we get started with language development in the hearing and non-hearing brain, the better off that brain will be, not only in childhood, but throughout the lifespan. Number two, we have learned that the left hemisphere, the left side of the brain, for the hearing brain, is vitally important for language in terms of speaking, phonemic development, semantic development, repetition, and comprehension. It is of interest that American Sign Language also hits those same neural circuits as the hearing brain. But in a fascinating way, American Sign Language also hits many other areas of the brain. The visual cortex becomes very, very important for American Sign Language because hearing is not functioning in the same way as the hearing brain. But from the base of the brain to the back of the brain to the right side of the brain, thought to be very important for spatial functioning and understanding emotion and prosody or pitch, to the verbal side, the left side, which understands the semantics and the actual linguistics of language. American Sign Language taps all those areas of the brain. So think about that for a second for somebody like me. My work is dedicated to teaching everyone, regardless of background, across the world, about the miracle of the human brain and how to shape it for health. What I have learned is that language is critically important. Language starting earlier in life is vital, and that American Sign Language for children who are deaf or hard of hearing, and even for the hearing brain, is vitally important to shaping the brain for health across the lifespan. Those are a couple of the things that excite me about being here today with ASL Friends. This is a vitally important mission-based not-for-profit, born here in Western Pennsylvania, but with roots across the world, and really dedicated to formulating and serving the foundations and the roots of language for the deaf population, the hard of hearing, and my bias is for all brains, to help shape that brain for health. I would ask you as a neuroscientist, and remember, I'm not on the board, I'm not an employee with the American Sign Language ASL Friends. I'm doing this because it's so vitally important to me in my mission to help brains be as healthy as they can be. Please, I ask every one of you to look at the work that's being done at aslfriends.org. Think about contributing some amount of money, whatever you can, to help shape their mission. There are so many children in need of developing language. I'll leave you with this. Research has taught us that a brain that is hard of hearing or deaf, if that brain is not exposed to proper linguistic shaping early in life through American Sign Language, by the age of 18, that brain will be performing at about the level of a 10-year-old. Without language, we can't connect. We can't form emotional bonds. We can't relate to one another. We can't make the world a smaller place. We can't solve all the problems that are in front of us. So I'm asking every one of you to think about what I have shared with you today, the power of language development, the importance of American Sign Language. Please get committed to the mission work at American Sign Language, aslfriends.org. I thank you, and God bless you.